Hey guys, it's Ashley. So today I'm going to be doing something that's probably way overdue. I should have probably filmed, edited, and uploaded this like a month ago, but I'm just now getting around to doing it. I don't know why, I don't know what has taken me this long, but it is seriously long overdue. And that video is my Raven King book talk. For literally the past month, I have been meaning to record this book talk, and I'm just now getting around to doing it. My feelings have not changed one bit for this book. But I will say that I am slightly fuzzy on a couple of the details just because I read it so quickly. For those of you who don't know, this is the final book in the Raven Cycle series or quartet. It's really hard to sum up the Raven Cycle. I've tried to do it in other videos. There's just so much that goes on in this book and this whole series that it's so difficult to sum it up in just a couple of words. I'm pretty sure by now that most everyone, if not everyone who has subscribed to my channel, knows that I am obsessed with this series. Maggie Stiefvater is an amazing writer. Her characters are so like, oh my god, I don't even know how to put it into words. I just love it so much. It probably didn't help that my sister really hyped up the series for me by making me really want to read it, but I just hope that I'm doing that for you guys now and that you will come to love this series as much as I do because it's seriously amazing. I've said about as much as I want to say about the series without spoiling anything in my previous videos, so I'll link every one of them down below. Definitely go check those out if you're new to the series. I will say that this was an amazing ending to the series. I don't think that I would have changed anything that Maggie Stiefvater wrote in regards to this ending. It was seriously perfect. I'm gonna try not to say, oh my god, too many times in this video, but I'm sorry if I end up doing just that. That's gonna be it for the non-spoilery section. The rest of this video is basically just gonna be me talking about my favorite parts of the book, and if you don't wanna know what happens, please leave now, read the book, and then come back because you're not gonna wanna miss this. Alright, bye guys. So I don't want this book talk to be insanely long, so I'm just going to touch on a bunch of my favorite points. My notes are kind of scary to me because I was so emotionally distraught when I wrote all of these. I'll put a close-up picture of what my notes look like, or at least like one page of my notes right here. I hope by looking at this you can see just how emotionally distraught I was. So I didn't actually notice this when I first went into the book, but the very beginning of The Raven King is the same as the very beginning of The Raven Boys, but between Gansey and Blue's perspectives. So like the very first sentence, it like they correlate. They're like the exact same, but one is Gansey and one is Blue. And that, like, I don't know why, but just that little thing just made me so happy. It's like Maggie Stiefvater is ending the series with the beginning. It's ending the series with something that made me fall in love with the series to begin with. I loved that so much. And what made me really scared going into this book was that the prologue literally just gives it away that Gansey knew this entire time since he heard Blue's voice on the recording and his own voice on the recording in the very beginning that he was going to die. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, in the moment, I was like petrified. I was like nearly crying at that point because I'm like, Gansey, you've had to live with this whole time knowing that you were gonna die and you weren't telling anybody. But in terms of Gansey's character, he is just that kind of person, I think, that would be able to take it in stride. He's just that kind of person that he would be able to know that he's dying and want to keep it from his friends to spare them from like trying to stop him. But something that I was really confused about was when Gansey was able to like order Cabe's water around, or you know, like when he was able to just like say this happens and then it happens. Like I was kind of confused. I don't really know if I ever got that kind of detail as to why that was, but I'll take it. I'll do it. Gansey, you're the man. You can boss Cabe's water around. Like, come on. I mean, even though Cabe's water in the end was just Ronan. Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Ronan dreamt Cabe's water. I feel like that should have been something that was such a big surprise to me. Like, she wrote it in the book as if you were supposed to be like, what? But it wasn't for me. I just dropped my book. But it wasn't for me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I expected it all along, because I wasn't, but it just wasn't that big of a shock, you know? A couple of things that really annoyed me in the beginning: the introduction of Lumineer or Lumineer or whatever the hell his name was. I don't even know. He's like a triplet, and they're all triplets, and this whole like secret trading thing of like goods. In the moment, it made sense. Looking back on it, I'm just kind of like, where did that fit in with the story at all? I obviously it ties in Ronan and eventually Henry, you find out, but I'm just trying to think, like, what? I mean, I guess the Gray Man and Green Mantle, it kind of tied them all in. I don't know. I'm just gonna yeah. And then all the way up until maybe halfway through this book, Henry annoyed the shit out of me. I don't know what it was, but he was just like, it was as if he was intruding. You know, it's like you've been reading about Blue and Gansey and Ronan and Adam and Noah for the past 2.5 books. You were just with these 5 people, and now all of a sudden Henry is deciding he's just gonna butt his way into the group. Like, no, dude, this does not happen. You are not getting into this group. Like, no, these are my babies. Like, no. He's so annoying in the beginning, but I have to say, he really, really grew on me in the end, and I really love Henry. Can we just talk about how many nicknames this boy gave Gansey? Like, I wrote down a list. I'm just gonna read them off, okay? Gansey Boy. Dick 3. Whoop whoop, Gansey Boy. I don't even understand that one. Richard Man. Dick. Mr. Gansey. R. Gansey. And Gansey 3. So the moment that Henry actually starts, like, warming up to me, like, I start warming up to Henry, is that moment when he takes Gansey underground into, like, the basement of the school. Now, one thing that really confused me was, what kind of school has like an underground dirt cellar basement? I don't know, but I'm gonna go with it. So when Henry put the Robo-Bee in Gansey's hand, I was freaking the out. Then that moment where Henry admits to Gansey that he had been kidnapped as a boy and his mom had to like get him back, but they had like abused him or something, and I just like felt for Henry so much. I felt so much sympathy. Henry, my heart's with you, boy. You can join in with me and my babies. You can come. Then that moment also made me think, like, but is Henry something special? Like, does he have some kind of role to play in this book, or is he just there? Like, I was really just Henry. Henry is such a weird character for me. Like, do I like him? Do I not like him? Do I think he's weird? Do I think he has no purpose? I don't know. I seriously don't know. Like, even a month after, I just don't know. And then when Gansey and Blue went to the toga party at Henry's place, Henry annoyed the crap out of me there, but Gansey and Blue were so adorable, because this was at the point where they hadn't told Ronan and Adam how they felt about each other yet, and that they were like seeing each other secretly, and so they were able to kind of like interact out in the open, obviously not kiss, right? I specifically wrote this part down because I wanted to remember it. The fact that Maggie Stiefvater used like no dialogue in that scene after they kind of went into the house, you know, during the toga party, I feel like it just made you that much closer to Gansey and Blue and their interaction with each other. I feel like taking away the dialogue kind of brought you closer in a more intimate setting, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it other than that, but I really enjoyed that. The moment where Gansey told Ronan and Adam that Blue and he were seeing each other, they were putting off telling them for so long. It just created this suspense, and you were like, when are they gonna find out? When are they gonna find out? Like, I need to know. And then the scene comes, and Gansey is just kind of like, Blue and I have been seeing each other. I wanted something more blood-curdling, more like, something that made me want to just like rip out the pages and like shake with anticipation, but no, it was just kind of like, we've been seeing each other. There you are. It's out. I don't know. Maybe that was just something that I had wrong with it. Another moment that I loved was when, you guys will know what I'm talking about, was when Blue was waiting at school and Henry pulls up in his like white, really expensive car, right? And he's just like screaming out the window like, Blue, Blue, and Sergeant, and everybody's staring at Blue. I was like, oh my god. And so she went over and talked to him, and then I don't really know what he wanted, but then he left. And so then she goes back to stand, and all of a sudden this like roaring, and then Gansey's orange Camaro comes pulling up, and he wants her attention, and he's like, we have to go now, and she jumps in the car, and then everybody is staring at her. I love scenes like that. I love it so much. That was like the perfect scene when the ordinary people like see Blue and realize that she's not so ordinary after all. She's hanging out with the Raven boys. I just really loved that scene. Now I want to move on to one of the major points of why I wanted to make this video, and that is Ronan and Adam. I can't even say their names without smiling. I can't. We'd seen this coming from like the second book, basically. It was hinted at in the second book, it was more evident in the third book, and now it's like, it's a thing, right? There was one moment toward the beginning of the book where Ronan was saying that he knew Adam knew how he felt. And at that moment, I nearly like cried. I could not keep myself from tearing up. I was like, yes, yes, it's happening. One of the best chapters out of the whole book, when Ronan kisses Adam and Adam kisses him back. And then, right afterwards, Adam's talking to Gansey and admits to him that he kissed Ronan and that Gansey loves Blue. Just yes. And then we find out that Gansey is bribing Mr. Child to keep Ronan in school, but he's bribing him by telling him that Gansey will give Child Monmouth Manufacturing. This part made me almost cry as much as the end, because from the very beginning of the series, you know that Monmouth Manufacturing means so much to Gansey, and the fact that he's willing to give it up to keep Ronan in school, not even to keep Ronan like alive, something drastic like that, no, just to keep Ronan in school. The lengths that these people will go to help their friends is just incredible, and it's just it just makes me love them that much more. Oh my god. So we find out from Blue's dad, Artemis, that not only is he like a tree person, which I didn't understand at all, like, okay, he's a tree person, but he gives them the clue that they need to stop the demon from undoing Cabeswater. Someone must willingly die on the corpse road, willing death to pay for unwilling death. Meaning that Gansey has to give his life to kill the demon who obviously doesn't want to die. And so then Gansey goes running off to the house that he died at with Henry, of all people, and he goes underground, and right at that moment where Henry hands Gansey his sweater, and then Gansey is going underground, and his shoulders are getting wet, and it just brought back memories of the moment Blue saw him in the graveyard on the corpse road, when his shoulders were wet and he was wearing his Agliambi sweater, and I literally went crazy in my notes. Like, I'm gonna leave a picture of them up here yet again to show you how crazy I went at this point. I don't know how I survived, honestly. And Maggie Stiefvater builds all this tension and all this suspense in that moment. This is the point where Gansey's going to die. And then he doesn't. I wanted to strangle her at this point. He doesn't die, right? I felt like something awful was about to happen, and I was definitely not wrong. So they go in and they open the door and they find Glendower, and he just ends up being dead. He's just been dead for 600 years. There's no favor. They're not gonna get to ask him to stop the demon. It's just nothing. Like, Gansey's entire life, since he was saved from death from the Hornets, has been about finding Glendower. And all of a sudden, in this just sudden, like, instant moment, you realize that Glendower was never anything at all. I don't know. It just, like, it brought the mood down so much. And so then they needed to make another plan, because obviously the favor that Glendower was going to provide wasn't happening anymore. That favor was gone because Glendower was dead, and so they came up with this plan. And this is what I have written down. They're going to kill Gansey and Cabeswater to make the time stop, and then Adam is going to scry to bring his soul back before it goes too far from his body. Now, I don't remember, that was the point that I don't remember all the details of, but I'm pretty sure that was somewhere around the gist of where they were going with that. So they're in the car, and all of a sudden, Ronan just starts becoming attacked. Like, there's like black, like blood running out of his nose and his eyes and his ears, and he's just being unmade by the demon because the demon is unmaking Cabe's water, and Cabe's water was made by Ronan. And it's just this awful moment where I was like in tears, sobbing the entire time. Oh god. And then the demon takes over Adam's hands, and Adam is trying to attack everybody. That was before that, by the way. Gansey gets out and tells Blue to kiss him, and then Blue kisses him, and then Gansey says something about willing himself to die, and Gansey dies. That moment definitely had me sobbing, like tears streaming down my face, but now that I'm looking back at it, I'm just kind of wondering why. And what, actually? What killed Gansey? Was it Gansey's, like, command that he's ready to go to save Ronan? Or was it Blue's kiss? My sister seems to think that there isn't a problem here, but I'm still very confused. So if you guys have any thoughts about what happened, or if you want to clarify something for me that I may have missed, or that I'm not remembering correctly because I did read this a month ago, please let me know, because I really want to know. Like, was it Blue's kiss that killed him, or was it Gansey willing himself to die to save Ronan that killed him? I was kind of like confused about that. And so Cabe's water undoes itself and destroys itself to put life into Gansey again. Everything is just coming full circle. Everything is just like, I don't even know how to explain it. This book, this writer, this author, Maggie Stiefvater, like, I hope you guys know why this is one of my favorite series of all time right now. But two people that I didn't mention that I want to really fast is Noah and Piper. I just didn't like Piper. That was the point of me mentioning her. I just want to let you guys know, obviously, that I didn't like Piper. And then the second person that I wanted to mention was Noah. His ending, I felt like he went out in such, like, a horrible way. I felt like he could have gone out in such a better way. Something, like, he wasn't with any of his friends. He had been possessed for a time, and nobody really trusted being around him. I mean, I'm happy with the way he went out, but I would have definitely wished that something better had happened for him, because he's had such an awful life. Like, come on. He was murdered by his friend, and then he came back as a ghost, and then he can't do anything because he's a ghost. Like, poor Noah. So that's gonna be it for my Raven King book talk. It was pretty much all over the place the entire time. I'm planning on putting up non-spoilery reviews for certain books that I either didn't take notes on, or books that I enjoyed but didn't remember enough of to put a full book talk up. So you'll probably be seeing a couple of those in the future, but as of for now, if you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up, please, and subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified of when I upload new videos. Thank you guys for all of the support that you give me, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye!